Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you America's top foundational health coach, Dr. Joe D.
Hey there. Guess what? You've seen my speaker already. I couldn't wait to bring him up. Isn't that great? I've got his sticker up there, whatever. It's just the way we do it because some people that come into your life, you can't wait to have them be a part. And that's our guest here tonight. I can tell you it's such an honor. It's such a delight to have him be a part of what we're doing here. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Dr. Jody Baird, known as America's top foundational health coach. For 4 decades, I've improved the quality of people's health, their wealth, their mindset, their emotion set, their social set, and everything in between. It's a 6-pillar philosophy that I've had, which focuses like we heard. And I was part of that singing backgrounds for Alicia Williamson, gosh, over 20 years ago. There is hope. There's hope in any of your situation. There's hope in what we do. And as you said, Rex Sikes is there, and I will introduce him in a minute, but I'm telling you, he gives hope, he gives healing, he gives his passion and his expertise to everything that we do. And that's what we do here on Life's Milkshake Moment. The context of this is life is like a milkshake. Choose your ingredients wisely, and when you do, life will be oh so sweet. I've been privileged to say that I've got over 1 million pounds of toxic fat lost with my 30,000 clients. And during the COVID era, 30 of those people, 30,000 also through the protocol, but 3,000 have come into my coaching and also into my, what I want to say, my soul tribe. So they've been able to remediate, reclaim, restart, and just renew their lives. But you know what the good news is? The next pounds lost, the next life reclaimed in health can be yours. You see, I was just a brown-haired, brown-eyed girl from Montana. What I know is I found out when I was about 5 years old, still in that beta theta state, and just no feeling of conflict, no abandonment. Why do I say this? Because that's what our guest here tonight does with just great abandon. He just lives for a lot. He has no abandon. He just goes for it. Well, this little 5-year-old Jody, I found out I could sing, I could sing, I could sing. And sing I did. And the reason I did was because I lifted my mother who was a young widow at 36. She was 41 then. She said she had no hope. I would hear her say this, but when I would sing and my soulful singing would lift her up, the frequency of my voice made her have hope. This is what you're going to hear tonight, ladies and gentlemen. You are going to hear a Life's Milkshake Moment broadcast that is second to none because our guest here will give you hope. He will give you vision. He will give you inspiration. He will give you education and a path to go down whatever you want. You see, I found that calling. I found my calling then in singing was first, but health became my passion. Why? Because that same mother, I had the phone call. I was a young mother then, had one baby in my arms and the other one in tow, cleaning up the kitchen sink. Ever had anything just hit you out of the blue and you're doing the mundane and then your life changes just like that? I got a phone call. I picked up the phone and said, "Hey, Mama, how you doing?" She said, "I'm not good, Jody." "What's going on, Mama?" "I just found out I have cancer." "Oh, no, Mama." She said, "They've given me 6 weeks to live." Instantly, I got on that plane. 2 babies, went from Atlanta, Georgia, back to Montana. I gave my mother hope. You know why? Because I took the inspiration that she'd given me, just the desire and hope in my soul. I went to that little Laurel, Montana library, found a book our guest talks about law of attraction. It's not the insinuation of attraction. It is the law. I walked into that library. I said, I'm going to find something that will absolutely cure my mother. I was a young health coach. I didn't know that nothing cures the body, only is a miracle making machine and will cure itself. But I knew, I said, I will find something. Way back, I found this dusty part of the library. It said health. I blew off the dust. Again, it took 2 layers. And I found Edgar Cayce's protocols, dated 150 years prior. I read it. I said, this is it. I went up and I said, I must have this book. They said, well, you don't live here anymore. I said, but my mama does. Check out the book. The rest is history. That 6th week, we had a celebration. She was feeling terrific, and she had nearly 3 years length of life, way beyond her prognosed diagnosis to prognosis. As Les Brown says, your diagnosis is not your prognosis. And she wanted to remember those 2 little boys, the toddler in tow and the baby. And guess what? They are now 42 and 43, and they remember their grandma. I got my wish, giving my mother hope. She got her wish knowing her grandsons, and her grandsons still remember her. But as she transitioned out of this life to the next, she said, Jody, give others hope the way you've given it to me. And that's what I've been doing for 4 decades. Our guest here tonight gives people hope. That's what we're looking for here, hope in health. And we're going to get into it. And I can really properly introduce our amazing Rex Sikes. Even though you saw the banner, you saw his handsome face in the outdoorsness of this great summer. But before we do this, and I bring him up, let's take a look. Let's take a listen to our sponsor, Ignite Publications. You know, we have this new book coming out. It's a compilation series. And it is with not only the coaching from Ignite, MYB Publishing, with Jay Noland, Peggy Woods doing the editing. But now we've got Americans Publication and America's Writers doing the what should I say, the manuscript to the typeset. Sometimes it takes a village. And why do I say this? I want to honor them all. I want to honor what we have in all of this. And I can say there's a possibility, even in this publishing venue, that you can have collaboration to creation to something special. So let's take a look. Let's take a listen to our sponsor, Ignite.
Ignite Possibilities. It's the idea that anything is possible. In fact, anything and everything is absolutely possible. We just need to start believing in that. There's a lot of conversations going on the planet, and one of them needs to be about possibilities. We need to inspire and ignite possibilities in all of our minds once again to believe that things are possible. We can change the planet when we step into the idea that what is possible is absolutely possible, and we can go after that. We can do that. We can dream more. We can aspire for more. We can have more. We can include more. We can create more. We just have to believe it. Start doing it. Working in that direction. Having that conversation. Understanding that what's possible is truly impossible in each of us. Igniting possibilities, that's the idea. That's what we need to start talking about. Ignite possibilities in me, in you, in everyone, in humanity. When we raise ourselves up, we raise each other up. And when we start going after what's possible in our own lives, we give permission for everyone, every single person on the planet to go after what's possible for them. Ignite possibilities. Ignite a possibility in you. Ignite possibilities in someone else. And we can change the world.
Ignite possibilities. Ignite possibilities in you. This is what we're going to do. Rex Sikes needs no introduction, really. Rex Steven Sikes is a member of the Screen Actors Guild. He's a magician. He is a hypnotist. He is a trainer. He is an NLP absolute extraordinary guru of the technique. But think about it. You've heard of the incomparable Buckminster Fuller, known as Bucky. To think that before he transitioned, he gave the mantle to this man to go ahead and train and teach and empower the world. Talk about a possibility. Buckminster Fuller knew it instinctively, and you will know it after we spend these next 45 minutes together, I promise you. Rex provides a powerful and a practical life manual in his book. You're going to hear about this. He has a fresh take on personal growth in business success, training, retreats, and transformation that's infused with love, wisdom, innovative ideas for sure, principles and practices. What he says, you will go and get a pen and paper out, and you will listen to this recording again and again, because he creates the life and helps you see the roadmap of the life that you want, like ignite possibilities. He just deconstructs the myths, and he has universal laws that really will help you understand easily and effortlessly how to apply them in your life. It's like those 1 million pounds of toxic fat loss. What difference does it make if it's not for you? This broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, is for you. The one thing I know, he will show you how to practice these laws and implement them in your life. You will hear about his book that's going into the second edition. Not surprised at all. It is the Bible for personal development. We're going to delve into that in a moment. It is life on your terms. And truly, truly, he has given us in his book, but in his life and practices and how he walks his talk, just the secret to love, personal success, and inner peace. You just feel a Zen moment. And I want to go into when I am in his presence. That's just what he does. But he shows you how to alleviate stress. Isn't that a good one? But how to focus on what? Your thoughts, because it's your thoughts that matter. And he teaches us how to matter. And all I'm going to say is welcome to Life's Milkshake Moments, Rex Sikes. Oh my goodness, you're dark. Oh my goodness. I don't see your face, Rex. All of a sudden you've been here forever. Where did you go? You froze up. Try that again. Rex, I can't hear you.
I'm here and I see me, but I don't know what you don't see.
I don't see you in your camera, so maybe you can check your camera settings. This is why
my camera's on and I see myself in my camera. And so
let's see. No, this is so weird. You are black on my end.
I wasn't a moment ago, though. We were talking.
I know. It must have been the introduction. So I'm going to say, my friend, why don't I go into a commercial break and you go back out and come back in, because I want them to see your handsome face too.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So I will leave.
Oh, here you are. Never mind. Here you are.
I'm back.
You're back because I said handsome. That's what it was.
Must be the magic word. But I hate to do this, but I must set the record straight. Buckminster Fuller didn't say any of that about me.
Okay.
Just so you know, I'm very humbled and honored to be here, but that wasn't about me. I don't know who it was about. You know, Doria has a connection with Bucky, but I'd love to wear it, but I can't do it without violating my own integrity. If I said, yeah, of course.
Got it. So we'll say Buckminster Fuller didn't say that, but you know what? He could have. So I did. How's that?
Okay. All right. Yeah, he could have said that if he had been in his right mind or out of his mind, but no, he didn't say that about me. So
all right. But I said it about you, and that's all that matters. So I'm glad you set the record straight, because we need to be accurate. And I think I've said that before. So maybe if we reincarnate Mr. Fuller, he'll say, Jody, you were right. You never know, right? But at any rate, I'm glad that I was able to say, hey, let's have an hour together. Rex, because that beautiful, magical sun in the Midwest is behind you, and we could just have a sister bromance here, and we could just talk, and the people in our live audience are probably going, "What in the world do those two say about each other?" No, we've never met. It's been a laptop lifestyle. I can hardly wait to eventually meet you and hug your neck. But please tell people a little bit about you and your initial mindset mentalist beginnings, would you please?
Sure, I'd be delighted. I have blurred the background because it was very sunny and there were all these halos and everything else. And since I blurred the background now, it's gotten kind of dark. So,
but Buckminster Fuller probably gave you the halo.
Maybe. There you go.
But it also,
people ask, like, who are you? Somebody actually asked me the other day, why you, which I thought was a beautiful question. Since I was a kid, I just always had this strange thing about personal development and getting better. And I could only assume that it was because, as a child, I didn't feel very worthwhile or I felt loved, but it was just not, it didn't make me feel good that I felt loved. I just was like, okay, whatever. So at a very early age, my parents put me in acting and dancing and classes and acrobatics. And I did that. And about the time I was 6, I asked them to start reading me these books that we had around the house, which were Khalil Gibran and the Bhagavad Gita, Think and Grow Rich, and other thought leaders that they just happened to have in their library. And I would go in and look through books and, So
I've just got to interject that when other people were reading, Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys, you were reading Khalil Gibran and Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah. I asked my mom to read that stuff to me, and I can't say that I understood all of it, but about the time I was 11, when I was able to read on my own, I started reading books on my own, and then trying to apply it. As a teenager, I just felt different. Most everybody does, so it's nothing. Yes. Different. But that's the part of the thing that I want everybody to understand. I've had my share of tragedy and hardship and difficulty. I've lost money multiple times. I've lost romance and everything in my life. I've had, whatever, just as everyone else does. And I am just like everybody else. I'm just a person that yes, it's true. I devoted myself to personal study. I invested in myself to go and seek out mentors and guides and coaches and gurus, literal East Indian gurus. I'm a Swami, for goodness sakes. I used to wear the orange-colored garb of a Swami and a sannyasin, and I want to talk about that in just a minute. But I'm no different. I feel like I'm ancient, like I've always been here, in some regards, as all of us, and at the same time, I feel very new and very fresh. So one of the things about me that I just want people to know, I'm sitting here in a Hawaiian shirt, and I would have friends who go, "You should be wearing a suit. You should never go anywhere without a suit." Well, I've worn the suit. I've been in corporate America training and teaching. They've come into my seminars. I'd wear a suit. I had just recently posted some stuff on Facebook of me in a suit during, at a retreat center. So I've dressed up. I've done that. And here's what I discovered. There are a lot of suits out there, a lot of thought leaders, a lot of the motivational people. They all wear suits. But you know what? You can have the most expensive suit in the world and just be an empty suit.
Yes.
And there are so many people going into work every day. They're dressed up. They're dressed to the nines. They're doing all this stuff, but they don't have anything going. Or you can be in a Hawaiian shirt and have personal presence and power and happiness and success and love and kind and compassion. And so what I wanted to do is say, look, I'm not interested in being the guy in the suit with the gold watch, standing in front of the car, with the jet in the background and the whole thing like that. I want to be the guy who you can sit down, you can talk to. He can wear shorts and a Hawaiian shirt, be with his dog, and you can learn from that. And one of the reasons I learned that was when I was the Swami wearing the Swami clothes, some people would look at me and go, "Well, who the heck do you think you are?" And and they would call me names and everything else. And I was always impressed with the people who would come up to me and go, "Who are you? Why do you wear that? What's your story?" And it didn't prevent them. It didn't stop them. So I think of myself as kind of like the billionaire that dresses like a hobo. I'm just another person, but I don't dress up to impress you.
No.
I'm just a guy. And if you can sit with me at a dog park with my dogs, we can exchange beautiful, incredible, wonderful, ideas and experiences and transformation. It doesn't require that, you have the watch and the car and all the accoutrements. So I'm a simple person, but I've devoted more than 50 years sharing what I've learned and what I've synthesized and what I've discovered and what's been passed down through the ages from others, as best I can to millions of people around the world. I'm very pleased and happy to have done that and to keep doing it.
And you have. And the reason I looked down at my phone, I just had 3 people and we're going to be talking about the books, that we didn't know that the Rex Sikes was on your TV show. And I said, the Rex Sikes is not going to wear a suit. That's what I just said back to them. Oh, that was beautiful, Rex. And I love.
Well, and I had this, and I sent you a photo of me with a suit.
Yes. And we're going to use the suit in the book, so you can say, okay, this is the suit with no empty suit.
This is a suit with someone in it.
Yes, the suit with something in it. Okay, you have to. That would be a great chapter in the second edition in your book. The suit with something in it.
Well, people need to understand that part of my experience as a Swami was really cool, because I could, anytime I wanted to, I could take off the garb. It's like a Catholic priest could take it off, or the bishop could take it off, everything else. So I could go anywhere and not be wearing that particular outfit. I've written about this and I've spoken about this before, but there are people who can't change the color of their skin or their gender, or things like that. And so how we are treated depends on how we're perceived. And if I was wearing, orange or red clothes or something like that, people think I was a nut. If I was wearing blue jeans and a brown shirt, people thought I was fine. And yet I'm just some white guy, in this garb. And yet there were people of color in the same kind of garb, Indians and, people from, the East, wear this stuff, and they get that. But for me to do that, it was like, well, you must be insane. But the point is that prejudice exists wherever prejudice exists. And people who can't change their skin color have suffered far worse prejudice than I could ever. Now, I never took the clothes off at the time, to escape any of the criticism or escape any of the hatred or escape any of that stuff. I just wore it and went, it's not my problem, it's their problem. I'm fine in the orange clothes, or I wouldn't wear them, but they had a problem with it. And they'd question my sexuality. They would question my sexuality because I was wearing orange clothes, or red clothes.
Oh my goodness.
What would that have? They would call me. So my point is this: people are people. Yes. And you can dress in anything. If I and I even say this in my book, this, if I dress anyone up in Elvis Presley's white sequin jumpsuit with a cape, it may feel very uncomfortable for people at first. If that's not what you do. If you're blue jean and brown shirt kind of person, that can feel really odd, right? But you wear it for a while, and you'll get used to it. And then that'll be part of, you won't even think twice about it. Everybody else might have a problem. Who does that person think they are wearing that white jumpsuit? But you don't have a problem with it. I, on the other hand, when I was a young guy, just so you know, and I wanted to be in the in crowd, even though I'd read all these books, I'd wear the tight jeans and the whatever was current at the time. And this woman who I worked for as a writer said, "You're too uptight, man. You're wearing tight blue jeans and tight shirts and, this whole thing." And she said, "I'm going to get you some drawstring pants, some flip-flops, and Hawaiian shirts, and you're going to wear those around the house when we work." And I was like, "Not on your life." And she said, "Well, if you want to keep working, that's what you're going to wear." So I felt so stupid going out. She would take me to the flea market at the Rose Bowl, in Pasadena, and different things, and showcase me in Hawaii. And I felt really, really stupid and uncomfortable. I was a teenager, and then I suddenly discovered, this is really comfortable. This is very cool. So when the corporate stuff happened, I'm like, I would rather be in a t-shirt or a Hawaiian shirt, and flip-flops.
It was the drawstring pants that got you way back when as a teenager.
Drawstring pants, because when I would go into corporate programs, oftentimes I would come out in a suit and a tie. And my challenge was to see if I could create enough rapport with the participants and the management to be in a t-shirt within a half an hour. Take off my shoes, walk around in my stocking feet, and take off my coat, and then take off the tie, and then eventually take off the shirt. So I'm just to just tell people, look, relax, this is cool. Because they would go up and go, oh my God, I can't believe he's doing this. And it's like, it's just clothes, for gosh sake. It's just your rules about them.
Let's look to the inside, because we all, at the end of the day, I just got a boo-boo from the beach. You can see my little Band-Aid. We all bleed the same way. So before our commercial break, I really want to hit this a little bit, Rex. And I know we could be on here for 3 hours. I feel this, but in your story, when you say you were doing your thing, you had an accident. Mm-hmm. I always say with me that when I was hit broadside by a Lincoln Continental, and my next waking moment, I was face down in a surgical halo, paralyzed from the shoulders on down. Wow. That's when I learned mindset, because they said, the doctor said, oh, she's going to be this way. And my mother, that same mother that you heard me on the intro, she said, Jody, the doctors don't they don't know who you are. And let me get this right. I haven't said this for a while. They don't know who you are. They just see what they see. And they saw a diagnosis, not a prognosis, as Les Brown says. You had this accident, but you went into that ready to have a comeback from a setback. Tell our audience about that. It's just a riveting story.
Well, it is all about mindset. And if people were paying attention, we've been talking about, it's mindset since we started, but we've been telling stories about clothing. Because it's about rules. It's about what our beliefs are, what our perceptions are. It's about what we will and don't do, what we're comfortable and not comfortable with. When I had my accident, it was a skydiving accident, but that wasn't the worst of it. I was prescribed a fatal combination of pills that should have killed me or put me in a coma. And I managed to not have either of those things happen. So I'm here today.
Yes.
And I was totally upset by it. And I had been reading Think and Grow since I was 11. This was about 12 years later. And it just upended my world. I lost my girlfriend. I lost all my money. I lost my career. I lost every single one of my friends abandoned me. The only people who stood by me were my sister and my parents, and an aunt that I had. I had to win everybody back. I had to convince people that I hadn't gone crazy. I wasn't a nut, that kind of thing. And because drugs made me. Fortunately, I didn't hurt anybody. I didn't harm anybody. I didn't damage anything. But I was going for months before my sister said, you better get out here, come home and look at your son, because there's something really wrong with him. Wow. She didn't know what was going on. I had hidden the drugs I went skydiving against the wishes of my girlfriend. I got injured and I didn't want her to know, how badly I was injured. So I was trying to keep everything secret, and went to a doctor in Beverly Hills who gave me this stuff, and I said, can I take this right now? I got to go pick up my sister. He said, yeah, here, and gave me a little cup of water and the pill. Last thing I remembered, it was just completely obliterated who I was and what my mind was or anything. And my sister said, you picked me up and you were a completely different person and terrified me driving and everything. So the fact that I didn't run anyone over, kill anyone, or do anything is just amazing. But here's the thing around it, is that for a long time I felt really, really bad, and I tried to kill myself after a while, and I felt shame and I felt all this stuff. And a friend of mine at one point said, you're going to die. You're just really on this path of destruction. And I had been for like about a year or so, and it was the first time that sunk into me, and it got my attention. I thought, well, I don't want to die, but I don't want to be like this. I don't know what to do. So I locked myself in my apartment. I said, I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to go anywhere until I can figure out how I can get back out there and not be crazy, and win my friends back, and win my, maybe the girlfriend back, and get my career and stuff back. So it was 6, maybe 8 weeks, but I always say 6 weeks. And I sat in a chair all day long. I sat in an Easy Boy recliner. I got up to go to the bathroom. I went and got some food, but I sat in this apartment. And I meditated, and I did self-hypnosis, and I did visualization, and I did affirmations. And I kept going, why me? Why? How could I be so stupid? What on earth? How long is it ever going to? After about 3 weeks, I realized I don't want to know any of that stuff. I want to know how soon I can change, how easy I can change, what I need to do in order to go out, how I can feel better, how I can be confident, what life is going to be like when I do that. And I everything began to transform. But it's not like the skies parted and the Red Sea, split. It was just kind of dawning, and stuff started to happen. And then about 6 to 8 weeks later, I felt like, okay, I can go out now. And I went out and kind of like a toddler, and approached the world and found that, it's not that bad. And some people started to gravitate back toward me after they convinced them that I was sane and that whatever I had was episodic and not, part of me, kind of thing. And then eventually I win most of my friends back. I did become friends with a girlfriend, but we didn't resume a romance.
But at least you got connected.
Yeah, I mean, but the point is that I had to take charge of my head and my feelings and my behaviors and my words. I had to have everything kind of aligned with the idea that, this thing happened and it was for your benefit.
Yes.
It's good. See, the problem with most people is that when hardship happens, they go, I don't want this, and they try and avoid it. Hardship, in my opinion, and I hate that phrase, but is there to wake us up to what's going on, to what we're not noticing, what we're not aware about ourselves, that if we would learn it or embrace it, then everything can change and transform. And
embrace the experience.
And I don't say that to say, okay, so you're going through a hard time, and if you just accept it, that suddenly the hard time is over. What it means is that it certainly can, and in some cases it does. On the other hand, it's not that the event changes, but that you change.
Yes.
So now you go through the event differently than you had been going through before. And so you can now be more successful, more happy, and more healthy, and more hopeful, because you've let go of all the things that are holding you back or harming you. And most of what harms people is their mindset, because they don't recognize how toxic it usually is just by growing up, around people and living a life. And so you got to take charge of your mindset, take charge of your feelings, because mind and feeling are all part of one thing.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest mistake that people make is they think, well, I have a brain and I have a heart. I have feet and I have hands, as if your feet and your hands, your head and your heart aren't all part of one system.
I think they did a thing with Ezekiel that this is connected to the funny bone, and and hair, and here it all goes around. So we're going to take this quick commercial break. We're going to talk, because Confidence Tones, this program that I helped develop, which I'm happy to say, because it really does get into that trauma release for 21 days. And we're going to get into your book, going to be in the second edition. We've got some surprises for you all for our second edition. Let's take a look, take a listen, take a feel.
Welcome to Confidence Tones, where we use a proprietary audio development formula called audio immersion to provide an experience that's designed to help quickly and effortlessly generate positive change in the subconscious mind when used correctly. This experience is achieved using 4 primary building blocks: brainwave modulation, invocation of positive emotions, immersive imagination stimuli, and developmental suggestion. We know of no other source in the world that provides the synergistic combination. With a good pair of headphones, you'll be able to immerse yourself into audio that's designed specifically to help you feel better, do better, and live better.
Well, as Rex and I know, Confidence Tones, really, if you want to feel better, do better, and live better, there's a program. But you know what the program really is, Rex? I have given your book out. I've just got to say, I know that 22 of my closest people, I bought your book for, just not for any particular reason. You've heard me say that I've left it in a couple of hotel rooms, and and it was left by the Guten, the Gideon Bible. I think that's a good place to have it lived. But Life on Your Terms, here it is. It's going into its second edition.
It's not going into it anytime soon. I don't know when it'll do that, but this is Go ahead. Sorry.
But I mean, life on your terms, you can get results. It is a life handbook. And as you'll see this, the book, let's go into this. And then I'm going to show you why the book is so good, because Rex has attracted some pretty great people, and I would say they're fur people, to his life. And you're going to see those as you see personal Rex. But I mean, I want to delve into your book on a couple of things, just a couple of highlights, because as you were talking about this and you talk about what he has done, look at those fur people. I'm just going to show them. Here's one. Okay. These are not dogs. They are Sasha and Bailey. It's puppy love. And this is total love.
They're here with me. Sasha's over there and Bailey's back there right now.
Okay. If they come up, I'll take this off of this slide. I really will, because it's just adorable. And you were talking about, you just decided, one of the chapters that I love the most in your book is called "There's No Such Thing as Self-Sabotage." Give us a snippet on this.
Well, most people, here's the problem, is that there are thought leaders or self-help gurus or educators out there who keep perpetuating a myth that you can sabotage yourself. It stems from psychology and from just bad thinking about things. What they're saying is that somehow there's a part or an aspect of you that's trying to thwart you, for whatever reasons. And if you understand how the brain actually works, it's designed to do two things. One is to keep you surviving, and the other is to keep you thriving. So in order to keep you surviving, it has to look at the world, to see what is dangers out there or what might harm you. In the old days, it might have been a bear or a lion or something eating you, or somebody, so it checks for those things routinely so that it can keep you alive.
Sure.
Then it also wants you to thrive. It wants you to reproduce, to pass the species on. See, what most people don't get is your entire body system is designed to live, and it is all designed, all of your cells are designed to heal and to be healthy and to work together and to cooperate. And sometimes things get, out of whack, but the point of the whole organism is to live and to survive. So if you understand the brain, it's not there to stop you or prevent you from anything that is good and wonderful, or something that you want that it doesn't think is bad, because the brain doesn't make those judgments. What the brain is a learning machine. It's not a computer. It's been analogized as a computer, and that's fine to some extent. It's really more like a jungle. It's a living, growing, evolving thing, unlike a computer. But the computer analogy is pretty good in this regard. If you program your computer to do something, it will do that repeatedly, no matter what you want to do otherwise, until you reprogram it.
There we go.
So if you type and it's in English, it will always be in English until you say, I want to type in German or Spanish. Or
it responds to the commands.
Well, and it responds to the conditioning, and it doesn't just change. In your computer, if you're typing, I want to have a nice dinner, and it comes out with misspellings, it's not your computer trying to sabotage you. But if somebody decides that they're going to stop smoking or stop overeating or start going to bed early, and they don't do it, they go, well, I'm sabotaging myself. No, they're not sabotaging themselves. They're doing what they learned to do. The brain is doing it consistently, because part of the brain's thing is to repeat what it learned consistently. Because if one day you were a smoker and the next day you weren't, and then 5 days later you were, and the next day, think of how your life would be if everything were just random. So it learns to do things consistently, repeatedly, over and over again, and then it goes to protect those things if you try to change them, because it thinks, hey, wait, this is threatening the system.
Sure.
So in order to survive, it's going to want to keep you smoking. So how do you stop smoking? You have to recondition yourself. You have to retrain yourself. You have to make a decision. Yes, I'm not going to do that, but not focus on what you don't want to do. Because think about that. If I go, I don't want to hear about coconuts on Google, what do I get? Everything about coconuts. The brain isn't going to go, don't smoke, don't smoke, don't smoke, because all you're left with is smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Smoke. It's going to continue the habit that you learned as a habit until you change the habit. And there are people out there who will tell you, you sabotage yourself, or you have to work really hard, or sacrifice, or risk, or take all these things, or entrepreneurial is fraught with all these things and everything else. as if they want to scare you into, 1, you're not enough, 2, you need them, 3, unless you do blah, 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 you're never going to, so there's so much that's targeted at people to go, you're not good enough, you're less than, and you don't have the talent or the resources. And what I have said and say and do every day of my life for at least 50 years now, you are infinite possibilities, you are infinite resources, and you are infinite opportunities. And when you understand that, anything that bad happens to you that you label as bad is a gift to you in order to help you recognize your opportunities, possibilities, or resources that you're not currently paying attention to. Now, I'm not saying that God's ordaining it or the universe is ordaining. I'm saying if you just think of it that way, you can make an incredible difference in your life. If you celebrate, my tagline is celebrate everything, because if you consider it a problem, it will be a problem. And if you consider it a blessing, it can be a blessing. And so how you perceive the world and yourself and other people around you and events and circumstances and good times and bad times matters. So what you said earlier, you can believe the diagnosis, but don't believe the prognosis. And I know Les says that, and Deepak Chopra says that. And I want to tell you about a friend of mine, Dan Clark, a good guy, a good friend, who also was paralyzed. And he went to 17 different doctors. And he tells the story better than I will, but he went to 17 different doctors. And he said, when people asked him why he went to 17 different doctors, he said, because 16 of them said I would never walk again. And I wanted to find one who said I could move again.
Yes.
It took me 17 doctors to find the doctor who said, I can do it. So, if people stop themselves often because of the silly thoughts and the rules and the conditions, that's why I was talking about the clothing earlier.
Yes.
We make rules about clothes and what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, and people get all torn about it. We do that with politics and religion and education and all sorts of things. And you know what? Rules are human made.
Oh, yes.
They're not locked in stone, and nobody said you should wear these clothes or not wear those. It's just what people decide on by convention. And if you're living by outdated rules for yourself and you're not exploring your possibilities, your opportunities, and your resources, then you're going to have more problems, because it's like using an iPhone 2 or 3 when they've it's now at 14.
Yes.
You need to update the software.
Yes, and we're updating the software for really. And I was just thinking, as I got to do this one more time. Now that's ultimate love, but let me tell you something. Those two don't worry about what clothes they wear. They don't worry about, are they enough? They don't worry about any of this. So let's just look for the life of a dog. Correct?
Well, can I say one more thing?
Please.
They poop in public.
What was that?
They poop in public.
Oh, and I can't have a show as a health coach without talking about poop or pee. I'm so glad that you fulfilled my ultimate, that it is. And talk about a life's milkshake moment. You've had one upon another. You decided. You went ahead against the convention. You know about infinite possibilities. I want to flip up what you always say here as we go into this other piece on this: magical, miraculous, memorable, marvelous, magnificent. Now, 3M company, Rex Sikes, he just needed 5. When you say you know more than you think you do, this inadequacy, we talked about self-sabotage. This is my second favorite part of the book, when you talk about you know more than you think you do. Bye-bye, Sasha and Bailey. We're going to see you in a minute. So,
well, it's make all of your moments magical, miraculous, memorable, marvelous, and magnificent, because every moment can be. That's why you celebrate everything. And what was the question?
Just the chapter is that you know more than you think you do, because it's that inadequacies, because you talked about infinite, that we have infinite this and infinite that, but we have infinite possibilities, but we go into that insecurity mode.
Well, and that's just it. Every experience in your life constitutes the basis, whether you consider it a successful event or not, a resource and a learning experience. And if it happened a minute ago or 10 years ago or 50 years ago, doesn't matter. You can draw on that experience, what happens for most people is that they drag their past around because it's horrible, and they wear it like some kind of badge of honor. You have no idea how much I've suffered. I'm a survivor of this. I'm a survivor of that. Let me tell you, for 30 years. Or they go, well, the good old days, they were so good. Nothing compares to what it was like then. It's all right. So they live in the past, either a negative past or a really great past, and they miss the present moment. Or they fear the future. They go, oh, the future is terrible. I'm going to lose this or lose that, or I'm going to have this is going to happen. They worry and they have anxiety and they stay up at night because it's something in the future. Or they're like, well, someday everything will be better, but not now. But someday it will be better. And
not a day of the week.
The key is to drop into the moment now, because if you drop into this moment now, one thing you're going to find out is if you stop thinking about the past, you stop thinking about the future, you'll find that the present moment, for the most part, depending on where you are, of course, is safe. You're safe. You're right here. And the past doesn't exist and the present doesn't, or the future doesn't exist, but you're right here. And if from this place you start exploring and asking yourself questions and affirming and saying, what is it? What from my experience is a resource? What are my possibilities? What are my opportunities? What are my resources? Anger can be a resource because sometimes you have to say, stop it. I will never do that again. And I don't mean stop it to somebody else. I'm saying you tell yourself, that's it. I draw the line. I am never going to do that. I'm going to quit. Like smokers, sometimes they go, well, I want to smoke. I don't want to smoke. I want to. And they just have to go, I'm done. And make that decision and get angry enough to do it. Or fed up enough to do it. Or frustrated enough to do it. Confusion can be a resource. If you're really, really mad and raging at somebody, maybe a little confusion would be worth having. Like, what the heck was I arguing about? Why? I don't remember what we were talking about. It sounds corny because if people don't do it, they don't realize it. But here's the thing. So whenever you're learning to do anything, it's going to take time. Like I teach juggling in my programs because juggling requires some coordination and it requires you to do something. And people think I can't juggle or I'm no good at it or anything before they've even tried. So now they start to juggle. And one of the things about juggling is you're going to drop balls. It's just part of the process, and so you have to get over that. You have to say, okay, you can drop balls. Now, some people will juggle for a couple of times and go, I'm no good. I'm done. I don't want to do any more of this for whatever reason. But if you keep doing it, I promise you it gets easier and you'll get better. And the easier it gets, the better you get. And the better you get, the easier it gets. It kind of goes hand in hand.
And that moment that you were talking about, that's your gratitude activator. And I've got to just transition here.
It's actually the attitude activator.
Okay. So gratitude activator, I guess I'm giving it a new name.
Gratitude activator is my blog website. It's gratitudeactivator.com.
Oh, well then I'm glad that I could announce this. And it is the attitude activator on Clubhouse. You are the attitude activator.
No. The attitude activator is my program that you use headphones and listen to.
Oh, okay.
An unstoppable attitude. It's been a premier audio program for a long while now. People all around the world use it to activate their attitude, because attitude doesn't just mean pumped up. It means calm. It means peaceful. It means serene. It means happy. It means delightful. It means curious. It's
like the confidence tones, and I have the program. And so whether it's gratitude or attitude, I'm really glad that we covered it. And the other thing that I was just thinking, because you were patient with me, and guess what? I believe that I found our next segue, which is what we're doing together. Let's take a look.
Oh yeah.
Let's take a listen to Healthopedia, shall we? Yeah. Because I'm so grateful that you said yes to our new Attitude Gratitude program for Healthopedia. From a 1984 goal card that I wrote when being mentored by the iconic Dr. Hulda Clark, I found an old crumpled recipe goal card in a file drawer. In 2021, it just simply states, I will create an Eastern medical version of the PDR. And here we are today, Healthopedia, affirmation and vision in action. Healthopedia authors, led by the iconic 7 decades in serving health and humanity, Dr. Bernie Siegel, MD,
Dr. James Marinakis, Serena Brown Travis, Jay Nolan, Kimberly Meredith, Rex Sikes, Dame Doria
There's food.
Cordova, Dr. Gary Sanchez, Dr. Mark Chavez, Jamie Kerr, Dr. Peggy Woods, Dr. Michael Pierce, Dr. Nefatina Serrano, Renee Brown, Jason Estes, Jeremy Hoffman, Melanie Summers, Debbie Armentrout, Linda Huff, Robert Baird, Carol Derrigan, Cynthia Hamill-Knipe, Suzanne Finder, Lee Forrester, Shannon Roper, Carrie Fisher, Jerry Tucker, Ivan Jacobs, Dan Gilman, Bobby Kowalski, Jamie Matheson, Kathy Strauss, Anna DeVere, Noah Crane, Trey Urban, Aaron Rudolph, Jackie Bailey, and Dr. Jody Bear, as we collectively elevate the health and wellness of you and your best life foundationally now and in the future.
And the word is now. And I am so happy, Rex, that you said yes. I made a note for myself. I don't know somebody who always says yes. At least you said yes to me. And I'm so grateful that you're in that book. It's a gratitude attitude activating moment. So why did you say yes to me, as busy as you are? And thankfully you did.
Well, I love you, and I applaud your mission to help people change in the world and to add value to people. So, you know, I'm glad that I've known you, even though we haven't met in person all of these years. We've been on Zooms together, phone calls together, and all sorts of other ways we've been together, except in person, which we'll fix sometime soon. But you know, the other thing is that you have a good body of people there too, alongside you. You know, Dr. Bernie, I love. I mean, you know, he's just iconic. I mean, you know, how can you not want to be with Jody Bear and Bernie Siegel?
You know what he said when I said, Bernie, why are you doing and promoting this book? Do you know what he said to me, Rex? He said, well, I'm 90 years old. Everyone I know basically is dead except my children, because they didn't listen to what I said, and you're listening to what I said. So we're going to have an ebook that's going to be Dr. Bernie Bits. And he said, that's not enough. He just stopped me right then and there on a StreamYard. And he said, that's not enough. It's Dr. Bernie Bits, something to snack on.
I love it.
Isn't that amazing? So thank you for that compliment. I love what you're going to add to the mental mindset of this. I know that this, you know, we've got some work to do. Obviously, I'm kind of like Annie Oakley, because I'm from Montana, and I just came in and started shooting. I'm going, oops, there's more work to do. But it's unfolding because I believe in this. It's unfolding that people are just coming left and right to make this happen. When did you ever know that 4 publishers would come together to do a project?
Wow. Yeah. Good point. Good point.
And that's because what you said to me, this is going to work, you know, because there's no ego involved. And that's what we know with me saying, I will pen the Eastern medical version of the Healthopedia. It's happened now, 2023, 37 years later. Well, because I was in service to somebody, I was trying to find those protocols from Hulda Clark during COVID, and their son was off the rails because he couldn't go outside.
Wow.
And they called me in a panic. And that's when I found the gold card. There are no coincidences, as Bernie says. And to think we're going to take it to the live stage with you, we're going to do your protocol in virtual stages and a mastermind. So give us your final thoughts about this, and then your final just amazingness. I can't believe we've been at this almost an hour. How did that happen, Rex? I mean, I could listen to you forever. I really
right back at you. It goes back quick, doesn't it?
Yes.
You know, and here's the good news. Change could be a whole lot easier and a whole lot swifter and a whole lot more delightful than most people make it out to be when they're offering change programs and courses, because they think, well, if I scare them into it, at least I'll get there, or whatever it is. But it could be a whole lot of fun to change. The problem is that some people will and most people won't. So if you're listening right now and you want to change, understand that it helps if you believe you can, and then do something about that. Make the decision. Get the
Yes.
book, for example, is coming out. Go to a workshop, invest in yourself, do something. I spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you could, or you don't have to. But I mean, I did, learning with the best of the best because I wanted to, resolve things inside myself. Did it require all of that? Well, maybe not. But what I learned through all of that was people made change hard, and it's not hard to change. My dogs, they're not struggling. They just do what they do. And thank God they don't speak English, or speak a language. All they can do is bark, so if they want to change, they make a sound, but they can't, you know what I mean? They can't go down that pity party hole.
No.
That so many people do. So keep the faith, make all your moments magical, memorable, miraculous, magnificent. And there you go.
And look at this puppy love. I love what when they would bark and we're doing some audio thing, they are just there. I will say what Bernie said to me because of a situation that happened about 3 months ago. And he goes, do you need it? You don't have a grandfather. I said, I'm 69 years old. He said, well, I'll be your extra granddad. Okay. So I'm calling him EGD. Okay. And he said, everything can be solved with love. And I know you feel that way. And Rex, I just have such admiration. I have never in my 260 broadcasts still had someone up there as I was doing my intro, because you have been in this program, you've been around it, and everyone that knows you feels you from beginning to end, from top on down. I want to thank you for being in my life. I want to thank you for being on this show again to really share magical, miraculous, memorable, marvelous, and magnificent. You know why? Rex Sikes, because you are.
Wow.
Much love. Much love.
Yeah, I don't want to steal your closing here, but may I say one more thing?
Sure.
People come up to me and say, you're a good dog owner. And I go, you know what? It's not that I'm a good dog owner. It's that I'm blessed with incredible spirits, that they're a gift. They're a gift to me. And I wouldn't be who I am without them in my life. Not that they wouldn't be who they are without me in their life. And I feel the same about you and the people that we know and connect with, and this opportunity to be in a book with you and others. It's a gift. It's truly a gift. And this moment that we got to share together today has been a gift. Thank you so much.
Magical, miraculous. Yes, you are memorable. You're marvelous. And Rex Sikes, you are magnificent. Hang around. We'll chat because we'll be finished, but we'll never be through. And I'll tell you, not only we have that, we have from Mindset Monday, Bobby Kowalski, who is a Reiki master, and she's in the book, Healthopedia, a death doula and a tuning fork practitioner. You're going to tune into that. But what I can say is Sunday, I'm on the radio, on Blog Talk Radio with Building Fortunes Radio, and it's just Dr. Jody. And we're going to have the intuitive coach, but she's also an interfaith minister. She has a story about safety in your cells. And it can be safety in your cells because it's a big deal, but safety in your cells. Suzanne Finder. So come back both Monday and Thursday, Mindset Monday at noon, Milkshake Moment at 6 p.m., and Building Fortunes Radio, 354. It is 234-4097. You can always find me at drjod.com. You can see it on the screen, or just dial in 800-820-0584. That's old school. And I will take your call because you are what I do. Les Brown says this quote, live from the hunger of your heart. When your heart is filled with the things that you truly love and desire, you will always be what you were destined to be. That's what Rex Sikes has taught us today. That's what we do in mindfulness. And I'm going to say it was a privilege and an honor to be with you today, to have such an iconic guest as who we had, Rex Sikes, that we could go on and on and on. But you get it. You're going to be there on the 18th. We're going to be many, many countries, international bestseller. We're also going to be doing a telethon for 20 hours on Traverse TV on the 19th, 12 to 6. These are all Eastern time zones. Then Wednesday, 12 to 4, and then back on Friday, 12 to 8. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to bring it, we're going to go through it, and we're going to show you that health isn't something you do. It is what you become along life's journey, because health, like milkshake, this milkshake moment, life is like a milkshake. Choose your ingredients wisely. And when you do, it will be, oh, so sweet. So until next time, this is Dr. J saying, have a healthy day. Ciao for now.